Hello, and welcome to Lichen Services. I will be assisting you today. What is it that I can help you with? You're interested in registering for your werewolf hunting license? Okay, let me just pull up the form. Now, is this a first-time registration, or are you renewing your license? Yes, the werewolf hunting license has to be renewed every 5 years in order to stay current. This is a first-time registration? Okay. Well, let's start with your name. What is your first name, please? Okay. And your last name? Okay. What is your place of birth? Okay. And your date of birth, please. Okay. And are you a resident or a rover? You're not familiar with the term rover? That's just what we call someone, a werewolf hunter, who does not have a permanent address. Sometimes they're working out of their vans or out of a carriage, just someone who likes to go around and has no permanent address. Just someone who kind of likes to tour the countryside, hunting werewolves here and there. Okay. And what is your current address or werewolf hunting vehicle identification number? Okay. Yeah, we just like to have some place that we can send correspondence if necessary. Just anything that we might need to send out, we need to have some kind of way to get in touch with you. Also, do you have a phone or an email address? Any other forms of contact that we might use? One of the great things about being a werewolf hunter in these modern times is that, we're no longer at the mercy of sending a letter and waiting until it gets there. We can do things like call or text or email, and that kind of speedy technology really makes the werewolf hunting process so much more efficient, which is why there are far fewer werewolf attacks than there used to be, because the hunting has really gotten better through the centuries. So, do you have an email or a phone? Yeah, if you have both, we'd love to have both on file. Never hurts to have an additional way to contact someone. So, let's start with your email. What is that? Okay. It's kind of long and interesting, but easy to remember, so that's great. And then a phone number for calling or text messages. Okay, great. Now, are there any notable hunters in your lineage? Werewolf hunters, yes. Okay. And Helsing, is that spelled S-I-N-G? Okay. And what relation is he to you? The name sounds vaguely familiar. I must have come across it at some point in my work. Okay. Now, have you ever seen a werewolf? In wolf form, yes. Okay. Have you ever hunted a werewolf? Okay. Have you ever attacked a werewolf or been attacked by a werewolf that resulted in non-transformational injuries? Non-transformational injuries are what we categorize anything that won't turn you into a werewolf. So, obviously, bites are transformational injuries because they will transform you into a werewolf. So, non-transformational injuries would be anything like bruises or scratches that you might have gotten in the heat of battle but did not actually result in a bite. Okay. Now, did you study werewolfery at an accredited university, or are you self-taught? University, okay. And what university did you study at? Transylvania? Ah, very highly respected university. And what was your area of study? Yes, some students like to pick out a specific area, and we like to know that because it helps us assess your qualifications. Some students focus on a major like weapons and fighting techniques, and some focus on identifying werewolves. Some like to focus on the history, and some do poisons, and some do tracking, Some just like to focus on more on a single aspect. There's, of course, the general knowledge as well, but some students like to really home in on one particular subject. And then, of course, there's the general curriculum in which you learn a little bit of everything. What was your area of study? General studies? Okay. And what was your highest scoring class? Okay. And what was your average score in that class? Very impressive. Now, what is your weapon or weapons of choice when hunting a werewolf? Okay. Okay. And do you have any previous places of employment to report? Yes, just previous places of employment related to werewolf hunting. We don't really need to know if you spent a summer working at Denny's after high school. We're strictly interested in the werewolf-focused workplaces. Okay. And have you ever been apprenticed to a professional werewolf hunter? Okay. And do you have any companions, partners, accomplices, or horses to register today? No? Okay. Now, we have the basics taken down for your registration, but your hunting license does also come with some insurance coverage. Yeah, it's really great for any hospital visits or medical expenses you might incur while on the job, torn limbs or treatment for bites, because in these modern times we do have a few treatment options available if they are administered soon enough after the bite. It will prevent you from turning into a werewolf, and all of that will be covered by your insurance. Equipment replacement. Yes, some equipment replacement is covered by the insurance policy. You will, of course, have to file a claim, and the insurance company will decide whether your equipment is eligible for replacement. Usually, if it's damage that occurred through no fault of your own, it is eligible for replacement, just in the general line of duty. But if it's something where you were at fault, like, you were leaning on one of your axes and you broke it, that's kind of your own fault, and it wasn't really a result of a werewolf hunt. You're probably going to have a harder time getting that replaced. So be as detailed as you can when filling out the claim. So, if you're leaning against it because the wolf was coming at you, that would be covered by your insurance. So always be as detailed as possible when you file a claim. And your insurance will also cover your werewolf hunting kit that you'll receive once you are fully registered. So just a few questions for the insurance. Do you have any of the following allergies? Canine fur. Okay. Silver. Okay. Wolfsbane. That's correct. Wolfsbane is extremely toxic and you should never ever eat it. But we're simply referring to allergies that you might have from touching the plant or powder. Do you have any allergies as far as touching it? No? Okay, great. Yeah, those are kind of important questions for the insurance company to know, because obviously those are very traditional methods of hunting werewolves, so it won't do to have you be allergic to those. And if you happen to have an allergy to canine fur, you might sneeze when a werewolf approaches and give away your position and meet your demise. So that gets very expensive for the insurance company. So it's important that we verify that you don't have any of those allergies. So are you or a significant other pregnant or planning to become pregnant? Yes, we always have to ask that question because werewolf hunting is a high-stress, very dangerous job, and we do try to not put newborns in harm's way. So we do always have to ask that question. But no. Okay. Have you or a family member ever been involved in a zombie, werewolf, or vampire-related accident? No. Okay, great. Do you have any pre-existing conditions such as sensitivity to moonlight? No. Okay. Okay, so you are all registered for your license. You're going to be receiving that in the mail within the next few days. And I'm also going to give you a card where you can get your werewolf hunting kit. And of course, that is fully covered by your insurance. You don't have to worry about that at all. It won't cost you a dime, and it will come with all of the traditional and modern equipment that you will be needing to hunt werewolves. And on the back side of the card there is also a little QR code that you can scan to download the Wolf Moon app, and that is how you will get updates on all the latest werewolf sightings, and you'll be able to track them and see how much they're worth, what the bounties on them are, because generally speaking, once a werewolf starts tormenting a town, the more it torments it, generally the more it becomes worth. So you can kind of plan your traveling to follow the high price bounties if you desire. And that's one of the things that's so great about being a werewolf hunter in these modern times, is that we have modern tools and technology that we can put to use. And again, it just makes everything so much more efficient. So make sure you go ahead and download that app and pick up your kit, and then you can start hunting werewolves, because you can never have too many werewolf hunters. We no longer have to be at the mercy of the beasts with our modern tech. We can easily find and track them. So you'll get your license in the mail in a few days, and happy hunting. Thank you for choosing Lycan Services. Have a great rest of your day.